Good afternoon. My name is Keisha Williams, and I serve on the planning committee for the briefing. I am excited to introduce the next panel, Blockchain Women on Campus. I'm a recent college grad, and I currently work at Eastern Kentucky University. My interest in blockchain and cryptocurrency prompted me to reach out to Cleve Mesidor about volunteering to help with this forum. I continue to be impressed with the caliber of female leaders in the crypto marketplace. The next panel will focus on the pipeline, the next generation of blockchain innovators, and how college women are mobilizing and leading a crypto movement on campuses all over the country. Thank you.
Good afternoon. We know it's Women's History Month, and we're talking about women of color in blockchain. So we could not have this conversation without talking about the next generation of female innovators in blockchain. They are the next generation of micro enterprises that will really fuel America's economy. So today we are talking to three dynamic female leaders from awesome universities who have done or doing great things leveraging blockchain technology. We have Jayde Duncan with us. She is from Morgan State University, a wonderful HBCU that's leading the way in terms of blockchain. We also have Gabrielle Hibbert. She's actually at Brandeis University, but she is actually working on William and Mary's blockchain program. And Carolina Ramos is from FIU. She's a recent grad, and she did some incredible things on campus on blockchain, recently. So, ladies, welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, I'm thrilled to have you. I know our audience is wondering. You all are so young, either on campus, in college, or recent grads. How did you get into this space? So let's start with that. Tell us your story, right? What led you to crypto? And we'll start with Jayde.
Again, I just want to thank everybody for having me. But I started in blockchain. Just want to get more interested in money and learn about investing, especially since I went to Morgan State now, graduated, and trying to figure out what are some ways I could be able to start making money. So blockchain is something I just fumbled into. And, I started off with Bitcoin as like everybody else. And then I fumbled into different cryptocurrency coins. And I've been here ever since for 4 years, standing strong now.
Awesome. And tell us a bit about, on campus.
So
What you're doing on
I
campus
did
with
it to
Morgan
Morgan
State.
State University for business administration. However, when I was on campus, I did not have the opportunity to have the blockchain fintech center. But now at Morgan State, they have a lot of different workshops, a lot of different panelists and things like that, and it's really exciting. Morgan is really taking the lead on blockchain, and I have been involved ever since I've heard about the partnerships that Morgan State has had, and ever since then we're really running and taking partnerships, and blockchain is now all over the place at Morgan State University. I can't unsee it now.
I'm a Howard grad, and I'm jealous about what you guys are doing at Morgan State. Gabrielle, tell us what you're doing. Oh, thank you so much, Jayde. Yes. So Gabrielle, tell us about what you're doing. I know, things are not as, things are a bit different for you than Jayde's story. So tell us your story and how you're shuttling between two universities and how you got into this space.
Yeah, so it has been a winding path, to say the least. So I started out my blockchain and crypto journey the first semester of my master's program in 2019. I was studying sustainable international development. My expertise is in international development and international relations. And at that time, I really wanted to expand and branch out. So I aptly took this course named International Development and Blockchain through the Tech Change company. And after that, I was kind of blown away, and I wanted to learn more about how I could incorporate blockchain and crypto into my career path. So after that course ended, I looked for more organizations to get involved with. and I ended up finding the She 256 organization. And at that time, the fall cohort was about to close, and I got in at the last minute and ended up becoming a mentee of an amazing mentor at the MIT DCI. And since then, it has been super serendipitous and amazing.
Well, your story is a little interesting, right? Because you're at Brandeis, but you're working on William and Mary's blockchain program.
Yes. So after taking the course, I knew that I wanted to incorporate blockchain into my capstone. And unfortunately, there was really no apparatus or infrastructure for me to do the blockchain research at Brandeis. So I decided to look back at my alma mater, which is the College of William and Mary, and I connected with an amazing alum. Our research interests aligned, and since then, we have been co-authoring papers and working on our research together at the blockchain lab. So yeah, it was really nice.
Awesome. Well, Carolina, you had a different path, right? Because you actually had a lot of support while you were on campus, and there was a lot of encouragement from administrators for you to pursue this path. Tell us about your story.
Yeah, of course. So I was majoring in international relations when an internship opportunity opened itself up to me within blockchain research with the GSA's Emerging Technology Program. And I had never heard of blockchain before. I was not interested in emerging technologies. I was so focused on foreign policy. Decided to take this internship, wanted to learn more, and it just opened my eyes to how much this technology will change the future of foreign policy, public policy, honestly, just the way that we distribute securitized data, information. You have to get behind it once you know about it. I then was able to pursue a blockchain research project with my policy institute at FIU. When they had heard about my internship with the GSA, they were incredibly supportive. They wanted me to continue research. They wanted to know what they could do to prepare students to learn about this kind of technology and also prepare them for future job markets once they graduate. And my university has kind of just stormed ahead. Even since I've graduated, they've been incorporating classes, they've been doing events, they've been doing executive education classes for professionals. I mean, I'm really proud of how fast they were able to adapt to this technology when it first surfaced.
Well, that's actually an interesting experience. And obviously, in our audience are likely college students, high school students, or even parents who want to get their children involved, or young people who want to get involved. So it's interesting that the three of you have had different paths in connection with your universities. I want to get to some of the accomplishments that you have, or some of the activities you're working on, but since we're talking about the different experiences that you've had, it's really, what strikes me is how can universities better support students on campus, right? Because Jayde, even though Morgan State's program is excellent, it wasn't in place when you started. You actually had to lean back as an alum to actually help, and now you're part of what they've built. And Carolina, your university heard about your internship, and I know I've spoken to the folks at FIU. They're really interested in building this space and getting alumni involved. And for you, Gabrielle, you actually had to lean back to your alma mater. So what would be your advice to universities who are contemplating how do they support students? How do they begin the process? We'll start with you, Jayde.
So like Morgan has already had a lot of different partnerships and things like that. So we're a good university to start and look at first, to already do the infrastructure on learning how to incorporate our faculty members. We recently did a HBCU curriculum for faculty members. So it was sometime in 2019, and it was in New Orleans. It was about 40 different faculty members, and they're, learning different programs, learning different courses to modify that that's already existing, so we can be able to learn these things in the schools, and be able to also have the faculty on board. But the faculty, we learn it from the faculty, so the students want to learn from the faculty, then they understand and know about blockchain. So we've been doing different courses to help faculty members understand blockchain, and then they'll be able to pass it along to these different students who are interested. And universities can look at that as one thing to where you can start. You can start there. We can do different partnerships with other universities and broaden our horizon from there. So that's definitely one thing I've seen, and Morgan is growing all the time for that.
Well, that's a great model, because I know a lot of universities don't know where to start. They don't have, professors who have a proficiency in this space or who have the time to learn. So it sounds like, Morgan is actually, being a thought leader and helping other universities and creating opportunities for faculty and students to learn from each other. Well, that's great. And so what about you, Gabrielle? I know, at Brandeis, there wasn't a program, even though there was a course. And at William and Mary, you're able to work with alumni. What would be your advice for, for faculty, for administrators, as they're trying to support students? It's a tough situation, right? Universities have so much to grapple with. So this will, as Jayde was talking about, this will require some collaboration.
Yeah, definitely. I would say my advice is twofold. The first is to be open-minded. I think, having worked in trying to get my research off the ground at Brandeis, it was very hard for me to find professors or faculty that were willing to take on this new technology that they had never heard of before. And I got a lot of pushback. So I knew that I could lean on my alma mater for help. And the one thing that I really liked and what I would like to see in more models is for blockchain centers, whether that be research or just an affinity group, is to make sure that it's interdisciplinary. It should involve the law school, it should involve the business school, the public policy department. It doesn't need to be just the computer science or engineering centers in a vacuum. So that's my definitely two pieces of advice.
And I love that, because a lot of people think blockchain, they think tech, and they think in the engineering school, but blockchain is an industry, it's a technology, and it's a new financial asset class. So it has to be more dynamic, because students are coming at blockchain and cryptocurrency from different spaces. Now, Carolina, tell us about your advice, right? Because you actually, when your university, FIU, is trying to build their program. And so what would be your advice, or, share some best practices you've had from your experience?
Yeah, of course. So we actually have a tech hub at FIU, and they were already trying to look into blockchain after hearing about Bitcoin. This was just after my internship, which coincidentally happened just before the Bitcoin craze in like 2018. My advice would be to reach out to alum that are working in these spaces, whether it be emerging technologies or specifically blockchain, to help give you insider information into what job markets are looking like, so you can better prepare your students. Tap into that alumni base, whether they are still based in that city or they're in DC, New York. I think that it's a valuable resource to help build that kind of a community in your school.
Great advice. Now, there's a role for the industry to play, right? Blockchain companies, are the best people right now to provide resources and infrastructure for universities. And we know that, Morgan State has received a lot of support from blockchain companies, even in financial investment, resources in terms of developers. So what would be your advice for the industry, right, as they're looking to universities to support, as they're thinking about how do they support? Why don't we start with you, Gabrielle? I know, you're sort of bootstrapping the effort you're doing at William and Mary. So what what is the call to action for the industry to help, students on campuses, or to help faculty, administrators on campuses create the awesome program that we've seen at Morgan State?
Yeah, I would say to keep your ear to the ground. There is a incredibly rich amount of research coming from colleges and universities, and particularly at ones that are starting out, like the William Mary Blockchain Lab. Just this past month, I supervised 2 students who are about to publish some groundbreaking research within the blockchain and voting sphere. So my call is to tell industry leaders that there is great things happening on campuses, and just to pay attention to what's going on. That could really help strengthen the infrastructure and the pipeline between students and the private sector or government or whichever industry that a company comes from.
Great advice. Carolina?
So I would say kind of a reiteration of what Gabrielle said, but to not focus on building these kinds of relationships with only those STEM majors and STEM classes, but to focus on the law school, the policy students. I mean, I'm someone pursuing foreign policy, so to even reach out to the public policy and international relations students. This kind of thing is not only affecting STEM majors' jobs in the future, it's also affecting, honestly, people in humanities and liberal arts.
Yeah. No, that's an excellent point, because Carolina, both you and Gabrielle were international affairs majors, or that was your focus. So if this was just for, folks in engineering or in STEM fields, you'd have never been the leaders that you are right now. Now, Jayde, tell us about your advice. Obviously, we know that, Morgan receives a lot of industry support, but we also know that other universities need that level of support, and based on the thought leadership that Morgan is doing, trying to help other universities, what would be your advice?
So basically, we already know that when you partnering with a lot of these institutions, we looking for like sponsorships, right? But we're not only just looking for sponsorships and different partnerships when we speak to these institutions. Morgan, we have a good amount of partnerships already. But when we're looking for partnerships with different institutions like Ripple, Binance USA, we already are partnered with now. We have these companies with us as far as not just backing us with sponsorships, backing us in their participation in these workshops, in these different courses that we have, because once we partner with them, our students who are participating in different blockchain associations, they want to see faces. They want to be able to learn more about it. They want to be able to learn what's the next steps, different jobs they may have, opportunities. So when we partner with different, these institutions, we are trying to broaden the whole horizon all around the board. We have panelists that come in. We try to get different things and get the partners active in our all the things that we participate in. But universities, that will definitely come. We already partner with a lot of other HBCUs around, and once they see one particular partnership with Ripple or Binance USA, all these other universities want to join. And we have one particular event that's coming up soon is the HBCU Battle for Crypto. So we're allowing funds going to the students' Binance USA wallet, and they'll try and learn how to transfer, invest, different things. So we're having like a panelist for the students as well. So different things throughout the workshops, and just to keep everybody involved, and having institutions and universities all collaborate together is really big.
Yeah. No, excellent point. They need to be present. They need to show up. Students want to see industry leaders, the developers, the entrepreneurs, and it sounds like that's what these industry partners have been doing at Morgan State. And that's absolutely right, because again, the space is only so new, only about 12 years old. So universities need industry to help. Now let's turn to you, Gabrielle. Let's talk about some of your accomplishments. You interned with Sheet 256. Tell us more.
Yeah, so I would say my biggest accomplishment so far has been to build up the Lingonberry Blockchain Lab with the lead PI, Troy Wee. And outside of that, I can drop some links in the chat based on the co-authored papers that I have done and my hopefully to be published soon master's capstone in April. So I come from a very research heavy background, so I am excited to bring those to the forefront. And yeah.
Well, research is definitely needed because the space is so new and we're still trying to figure out what's driving some of the trends. So it's great to see you're leaning back in terms of that space. So Carolina, I know, you're a recent grad, you're working at CSIS and your focus is not blockchain per se, but it's still part of your ethos, right? How you are actually leveraging, emerging technologies.
Yeah, so I am specifically focused on a project researching emerging technologies. I have to say that this is a product of how much emerging technologies are affecting foreign policy strategy, defense strategy, that a major think tank is now looking at this. And if you asked me in 2017 if I thought that there would be this kind of a bridge between international relations and emerging technologies, as I had seen back then, but was not seeing in the markets, the job markets, I would have thought you were crazy. When I saw this job opportunity, I was like, this is it. It's happening. The big bridge between technology and foreign policy is finally happening. And I'm just to take those first steps onto that bridge.
Wow. How awesome is it to be able to align your, interest in foreign affairs and emerging technologies? It's definitely an interesting time in the world. Jayde, I know you have, a weekly podcast that you do and some other activities. Tell us more.
So this space is really exciting. Now in these times we're still developing. It's very in the infant stages. So like I said, I do attend Morgan State as as well as far as their blockchain association and try to speak here and there on their calls. And then every Wednesday we do have a podcast that we do. It's about 250. I don't want to say young people, but in a generation we have a lot of different people in our in that space. And we just teach people how to learn about crypto, what is investing, blockchain, things like that. I do host it with a lot of other of my friends. We call ourselves the crypto nerds. So that's every Wednesday. So I'll just definitely drop the link in that if anybody wants to participate, and bring your moms, dads, grandmas on the call. We have a lot of fun. But also I interned at the Digital Chamber of Commerce as well. I was under Dan Spuller. He's been my mentor ever since, and it's been very exciting. I've been able to speak at different events and met Brian Garlenhouse. That's something very exciting. Meeting just different people in the industry is very exciting, and just being on a call with you ladies is already, it's a lot that's in this space, and it's more to come, and I'm really excited about it and been happy. I joined blockchain ever since, so it's been great.
Wonderful. Well, the three of you are part of the delegation for this conference. We have a delegation of 60 plus crypto leaders and, female industry leaders who are really paving the way. And clearly the three of you are part of that next generation. I'm very impressed by the efforts that you are leading. As we close, do you have any final remarks? Gabrielle, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I think just take the chance, jump into crypto and blockchain if you have an interest in it. That's what I did, and I did not expect it to take off the way that it has. And even if you haven't coded before, try that as well. There are so many new avenues that people can explore. So definitely do that.
Just to piggyback off of Gabriella, I definitely say just jump for it. Just jump in. There's different things out there, and you don't have to just do blockchain. You can learn how to trade. You can learn how to code. You can learn. It's so many different avenues. You can be in the business space. You can be in engineering. And a lot of people. It's still young. Still young. It's a new asset class. It's very exciting. You meet a lot of different people. So just jump into the space, and I'm excited. I know you guys will be excited as well if you jump into it.
I'm excited. Carolina, any parting thoughts?
I would say to not limit your idea of blockchain to only cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin. Those things are incredibly important, but how I used to describe it was essentially that blockchain is like a cellular phone, and Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are like apps or applications you download onto that phone. Like the phone itself has so much more potential than just the applications you download onto it, but that doesn't make the applications less valuable. So to see the bigger picture of blockchain and how it can affect the world, honestly.
Oh my God, what a great way for us to end this conversation. Carolina Ramos from FIU, Jayde Duncan from Morgan State University, Gabrielle Hibbert from Brandeis, and William and Mary. Thank you for your time. For those college students out there in our audience participating, or professors or faculty, jump right in. That's the message. Thank you.